Hey, so you're looking at moving to Virginia Beach from DC, and you want to know what to expect. Well, we're going to talk about that right now. Hey, welcome back to the Living in Coastal Virginia channel. My name is Dan Inman. I am an active realtor here in the area. My wife is an active loan officer. We work tirelessly to make the process as smooth as possible for you and your family. So you can hit all of our information down below, or maybe Sean will put it right here. We'd love to help you as much as we like making these videos. We love more to serve you and your family in the moving process. If you're new to the channel, what we do is we talk, eat, work, play, all things coastal Virginia, Hampton Roads 757. If you would hit that like button, it lets us know that we're doing the right content for you. And if you would like to see more of this content, you can hit the little subscribe button with the bell notification, and you'll see every time we drop this, which is about twice a week. So let's talk about moving to Virginia Beach from DC. So a couple things that we need to cover, and I think the first one that most people are going to be looking at was cost of living. So the main thing that we're going to be looking at here is how much more or less is it going to cost in Virginia Beach versus DC, and how much more or less I'm going to be making on wages. Well, DC is about 45% more expensive than Virginia Beach, and if you're going to make that transition from DC to Virginia Beach, we're looking at about a 14% reduction in about what you would make. So there's some true cost savings there to be had. All right, so there's a couple things that make up that 45%. Number one for me is going to be food, because I love to eat, and that's going to be about 16% more expensive in DC than Virginia Beach. Transportation is going to be about 38% more expensive in DC. Next is going to be utilities. You're looking at about 9% more expensive in DC versus Virginia Beach. Restaurants, entertainment, clothing, all going to be about 3 or 4% more expensive in DC. But the bulk of that expense is going to come in housing. So the last quarter of 2020 was about $675,000 for an average sale up in DC. Virginia Beach, only about $315 to $320. So you're looking at about 220% more expensive in DC than here. So one, you could either move into a nice 3-4 bedroom place here in Virginia Beach and have a fantastic place for $319, $320, $350, somewhere in that range. Or if you wanted to buy something equivalent, let's say you were able to negotiate in your income about the same income here, well, $675,000 will go a long way. You can be 1-2 rows off of the ocean front in the North End or Rudy's Inlet, or you could have a 3,000 square foot fantastic home in a great school district in a quiet area for about that same cost. All right, so the next category I'd like to cover is taxes. Income tax for DC, 4% to 8.95%. That's a pretty large amount. It's one of the highest in the country, versus Virginia Beach, anywhere between 2 to 5.75%. Next major category in there is going to be real estate taxes. This is about the same depending on the type of property that you buy. It's about 0.85% for DC and about 1.01% in Virginia Beach, except for energy efficient buildings, which is 0.86. The third one I think is important to hit is personal property. So there's no personal property taxes on vehicles up in DC, and there's about a $4 per 100% assessed value in Virginia Beach. You get about a 50% tax relief on the first $20,000 on that personal property. So You really are getting taxed when you own vehicles on the higher, price points. So if you're looking at getting that Porsche 911 Turbo S, well, the first $20,000 is only assessed at 50%, and everything after that is the full $4 per $100 assessed. All right, two more categories, weather and then culture/lifestyle. So let's go into weather real quick. So one of the main differences you're gonna see between DC and Virginia Beach is going to be snowfall. In Virginia Beach, our yearly average snowfall is about 5 inches versus the 15 up in DC. The biggest difference here is that DC has a much better infrastructure around being able to get rid of that snow when it happens. If we get a light dusting here, be prepared to stay home with those kids because we basically shut down until we can get those roads cleared. You're gonna see very similar humidity between DC and here. The benefit is you have that wonderful Atlantic, nice cool water waiting for you during the summer versus DC. Unless you have a pool, you're basically just sweating the entire time. I personally think that Virginia Beach during the spring and fall season is absolutely fantastic. It's April 8th today, and the weather outside is what, 70 degrees, Sean?
Yep.
No humidity, other than the pollen if you have some severe allergies, but I take a Claritin and I'm just fine. I think spring and fall is absolutely gorgeous here. And like I said, during summer, even though it's a high humidity and quite warm, you do have the ocean that you can go jumping, and it's wonderfully cool. Last thing I think that you need to pay attention to when it comes to weather or weather expectations is inland versus coastal living, right? So we are at Virginia Beach, we are along the coastline, so we do get tropical storms and hurricanes on occasion. This means that you need to be better prepared for those, better, ready for evacuation routes. When those storms come through, you might have tree work. You want to make sure that you're taking care of shutters and, good water sealing on your homes. It's really not that big of a deal, but there is the potential for high wind damage during those seasons. So let's hit on culture lifestyle here last. One of the main attractions I think this area has versus say DC is the lifestyle is just a much slower pace. It's a beach lifestyle. Yes, you do have a thriving, economy here. We do have low employment. Jobs is pretty stable, but things are just a slower paced. That includes traffic. We do have traffic here because of the tunnels and bridges. However, there's just going to be, you're not going to have that crazy rush hour traffic that you have up in DC. What's up?
I think you said employment, not unemployment.
Did I say low employment?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think you want to say that.
All right.
We have low employment. You meant to say low unemployment, right?
Yes. All right. I'm just going to start over from the beginning because
Yeah.
Cool. Lastly, I'd like to hit on culture and lifestyle. I think one of the main attractions that Virginia Beach has over DC is that we just slow things down here. We do have a thriving economy. We have very low unemployment overall in comparison to the overall nation. But you're going to be moving from DC to Virginia Beach. You're just going to have to be prepared to slow things down. This includes traffic. I know a lot of friends that have, again, still live up in the Alexandria, DC area, and they are constantly complaining about how much traffic there is and the driving that's around there. The average commute time here versus DC is about half of what you can expect. And people are a little bit nicer on the roads here, which is a good plus. Another attraction that we have is, I think, just population density in general. There's a lot of people that are relocating nationwide from large cities to a little bit more of a rural or urban or suburban lifestyle. And DC is known to have tons and tons of people. So if you're looking, you become more COVID conscious, or maybe even just said, you know what, I want to move somewhere where I'm not as stacked up on people. I know a lot of people that are making that move. This may be a great area to consider. Like I mentioned a few seconds ago about transportation, one of the things that we don't have that I think DC has a fantastic is a public transportation system. We do have a public transportation system, but it's just not nearly as robust as DC's. A couple other mentions here is going to be poverty rate. It's about half that of DC. The crime rate here is also quite exceptional in comparison to DC. I think Virginia Beach was rated the #1 safest large city in the nation last year. I'll have that link down below. And then lastly, we have an enormous veteran / military population here. So you better get used to that jet noise, and you better get used to basically all of the restaurants have some type of discount. Home Depot has a military discount. Just about any store you go to is a military discount. There's a huge military population, and it definitely shows. Hey, do you think that I potentially missed anything? Would you rather stay in DC versus Virginia Beach? Did I mention something that you don't think is a big deal? Let me know down below in the comments. Like always, we make these videos. I love doing them, but we'd like more to help you with your real estate needs. So if you'd like to make a transition into the area as smooth as freaking possible can be, that's what my wife and I do on a daily basis. All of our contact information is below. Don't forget to hit that like button. Let us know that we're putting out content that's helpful to you, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell notification. You'll be notified every time a new video comes out. Thanks again for stopping by. Till next time, see you later.